WWE Championship, John Cena faces off against Randy Orton, and this is where everything just completely sunk. I mean, we talked in the last segment at how the Brock Lesnar one was a bit of a downer, and that sort of is where things went astray on the pay-per-view, but this is the match. Holy fuck. This was boring as hell, and the crowd completely let WWE know about that. They chanted boring multiple times. And actually, the most fun part of this whole match was the different chants that we had. One of my favorites was "We want divas," which I don't think I've ever heard in my life.
And Randy Orton responded perfectly, saying, "They want divas, but let me give them a pose."
Right?
He does the Randy Orton's arms extended pose.
That was good on his part. And you know what's really weird form of irony about that? They chant "We want divas" as this big sign of like, oh, fuck you, this match is so terrible, we'd rather have divas. You listen to the Raw post show from this week. That divas match was actually pretty damn good.
Better than
That
this
was
match.
like that somebody like backstage, one of the divas was like, "Do you hear? They're finally loving us. We're gonna go out tomorrow night. We're gonna tear the fucking house down."
That's how you do it. You got to put a Randy Orton John Cena matchup before the Divas matchup. That's how you get people to start warming up to the division.
Well, that was so weird. What were some of the other matches? Some of the other things that we were chanting. When I was watching the pay-per-view with Dane, who called into the post show on Monday, and Dace, and everybody else who usually does. One of the buddies of mine was like, "Are they chanting 'We want egg rolls', or 'We like egg rolls', or something like that?"
To be
And
fair, if they're the Southwestern egg rolls from Chili's, then they've got a fucking good reason to say
hell
so.
yeah.
Those things are fucking amazing.
Ooh, yeah.
there's
Egg
something else
rolls.
that somebody had said, "Are they chanting?" And it was something else about food, but
Feed me more.
it wasn't feed me more. It was something like we like whatever, some other kind of food, like we like pizza or something like that. But this was just one of those fun sets of chants where I'm kind of over the whole you chant for JBL and you chant for Cole and all that other kind of stuff. It's still kind of funny a little bit, but it's been overplayed a little bit too. I did think it was kind of funny though that there was like an Undertaker chant, Y2J and stuff, because they don't typically chant for them. It's usually Savage and Lawler and JBL and Daniel Bryan obviously, but that's obviously the story of the night, the whole chant stuff that they were going on with that. The match itself, predictable, boring, flat. You don't need boring chants with a bunch of rest holds. That was stupid. I don't know why they decided to do that. So I didn't like this at all. I'm glad Randy Orton retained, but this was a fucking bore. Lego?
Oh, let's do that exact same match again that everyone hated the last time. That'll go over well. Fucking... I'm going to get really nasty about this match, so I'm just not going to get into it. But to sum it up, it was fucking terrible and probably the worst one these guys have had.
True?
Is that it, Steven?
I'm not going further into it.
Oh.
I'm just going to shit all over it otherwise.
Okay,
What, like Randy Orton in a bag?
Yeah, like Randy Orton in a bag.
Oh, my notes aren't ready yet. But I thought we were going to go longer, but I'll wing this, I suppose. I didn't really hate the match like I think everyone else would. I thought, but that mainly might be because of the chants that kept me at least watching it. Towards the end they had they were doing each other's finishers. Spot I like that. Orton had he did the STF, and I don't know if it was Wago mentioned it actually, but he did it properly. Was that you, Wago?
Huh, sorry, I totally zoned out. We was talking
Okay,
all
so
over
anyways, I didn't think the match was bad. The fans have a reason to chant that they hated this setup, mainly because everyone believes right now that Bryan should be in the main event. He probably should. And I honestly, I'm not trying to go into it because it's not that I don't want to, like Steven. It's just I don't really know what I want to say about the match. But if it wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It was definitely beginning of the downturn of the pay-per-view, in my opinion. But it kept me entertained for the most part, and yeah, I've kind of actually enjoyed it.
Miguel?
I think it's really telling that the fact that not only they started chanting, and at one point they actually, and I'm gonna quote the Spoonie one on this one. He did a review of the Royal Rumble, and on his page, he's a reviewer from That Guy with the Glasses, and he
Oh, you remember to
basically
plug his shit.
what? You had your chance to you had your chance to piss and moan about this matchup, Waco, and you passed it up. It's my turn. Anyway, as I was going to quote, and I'm paraphrasing on this one, it's really telling that not only they didn't just like hijack the matchup and start chanting. At one point, they actually stopped chanting and actually started doing a worm. Not a worm, a wave. They did a wave.
Oh, the whole crowd started doing a worm.
That would be awesome.
So
That would be awesome. But no, it wasn't that awesome. But they did a wave, and you could tell WWE was trying to edit around that. You could tell them the editing on there when they started doing that was very choppy, so they didn't get it into the actual screen of it. That's actually telling because I don't think I've ever seen a WWE crowd just start doing a wave during a matchup. I mean, that means they're not even paying attention to the actual matchup. They're completely out of it. And I think it was funny that Randy Orton, once he kept getting the rest hold chance, would actually go into rest holds just to spite the crowd. I mean, you could tell he was just not having any of this. And you know what? I know those guys went out there and did their best, but we've seen it so many times, and it's the same matchup over and over. I think it was, you know what? Good on the fans for basically telling them that we're tired of this. We're tired of seeing these two guys wrestle, and we're tired of them not doing anything different. I mean, the only time these guys ever put on really good matches is when you gimmick them up. In a standard wrestling matchup, these guys are awful. They're just boring, especially Randy Orton. Hello, anybody out there?
Yep.
Awkward silence.
Yeah,
You know,
that was like advanced silence. That was like, did you guys just hang up on me all of a sudden?
I think it was awkward silence because we all thought that you just like cut off your own point, like you were just kind of like, that's it. Like
No. It was, you know what? I'm sure it was probably a 2 out of 5 type matchup, but that crowd basically just brought it down. That was a big fat goose egg match.
Peyton, what do you think? Round us out.
It was good.
how good?
I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people would say it was. I think it had a lot of boring parts in it, but what do you expect? It's a Randy Orton match. And for that matter, it's a Randy Orton match with John Cena. These guys are capable of having fantastic matches. We've seen it before. The problem is that everyone else has already said we've seen these guys face dozens and dozens of times since the mid-2000s. And we just saw them last month. And I think we didn't see them face each other for a while, but they got all that energy that they had from not being with each other out last month. They got everything they could out there. And the fact that we already saw them in a big time gimmick match, how are you going to dial back and then just do a regular old title defense match and expect it to be exciting? It's absolutely impossible. It almost doesn't even matter who you put in there. People are not going to be as excited for that match. But then to start it out with 10, 15 minutes of rest holds, and once again, that's a Randy Orton match. Can't blame the crowd for tuning out, though. Pittsburgh was fantastic throughout the entire night. If there's one person that I'm going to compliment throughout that night, it's the crowd, which is not one person. It's many people. I really wonder. Well, go ahead, Drew.
No, I just wanted to say you said that they tuned out. I don't think they even tuned in for the match. I don't even think they.
No,
cared enough to
they
do
were
that.
against this from the beginning. This match did not stand a chance with that crowd, unfortunately, because I think Miguel said it best. This was probably like a 2, 2.5, maybe even a 3 out of 5. It was not a terrible match. It would have been a fine match if it was on Raw or something like that. This was not. People didn't care. People wanted to see Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble. That's what they were waiting to see. They didn't want to see John Cena and Randy Orton face for the 52nd time. It did not have any chance at all of the crowd being into it. And then when it ended up being not an amazing match at all, even more so, they're going to tune out of it. Hopefully this is the last we're going to see of this. I don't even think we needed to see this match. I hate this idea of just because someone loses their title, they automatically get the next month's shot. I'm a bigger fan of back in the day when you lost your title, you go to the back of the line, you got to work your way back up to getting that title opportunity. It didn't matter who you were. I guess that's really all there is to say. The end of the match, we have Bray Wyatt come out and interfere in it, which was kind of a weird ending. That was definitely not what I was expecting to this match, but I guess it was the best way you could easily introduce Bray Wyatt into the situation with John Cena, if that is your ultimate goal. But at this point in the match, people did not care. That was one thing the crowd did not react to that I think they were expecting a bigger reaction to, because at that point the crowd was dead. People could not be picked up instantly no matter who came out there. Freaking Macho Man Randy Savage's ghost could have showed up in this match and people wouldn't have gotten that excited.
They would have cheered for him though.
Oh, the cheers were just amazing in this. What I think I think it's funny that they're trying to pan away from the waves, but then when they're doing like the JBL chants and JBL stands up to like take a bow, they like cut the camera over to him. It's like, didn't somebody get like really upset about that? I think it was Randy Orton when they were doing that with a match he was having with.
It was Alberto
somebody.
Del Rio
Shit.
on Raw.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was Sheamus.
Oh, yeah, it was Sheamus. Okay, that's right. I think it was Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus. Okay, or maybe Randy Orton wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was
Oh, who
multiple
the fuck-
matches.
who the
They
fuck
did it
cares?
at some point, and someone got upset about it. They put out some tweet where they were all butthurt about it.
Well, this week on Raw it was
That's
Del
what I'm
Rio
on
versus
about.
Kingston, and Del Rio got all pissed off. But can you
Yeah.
blame him because JBL looked like a star in that match compared to Del Rio?
Mm-hmm.
But here's
I
something
had your
that's-
gimmick first, and I'm all over.
Here's something that's kind of related to this, but it's not actually about the match itself. Is anybody else so goddamn tired of Orton carrying around both belts?
Yes.
Absolutely. I get pissed off every time I see it.
Just
It
put
looks
the
terrible.
fucking WWE title belt on him already. We get that they're merged, and I kind of understand that they would go, well, you know what, we're going to do that eventually, so let's just go with it for now for something different. But
The
You know
merge
what?
of it all.
after he beat John Cena, you keep it for, that build up to Royal Rumble or something like that. He should have came out this week on Raw with just the one title. And he should have just been like, look, I proved that I fucking beat Cena. I am the unified champion. I don't even want to fucking see his world heavyweight title anymore.
Well, at
I
this
wouldn't.
point, you like have to do something to get rid of that other title now because he's been carrying around this long. There has to be some type of like someone comes around and destroys the title, or he gets presented with a new one completely that gets rid of both of them, or whatever they decide to do. They can't just randomly have him come out and walk out with just one.
Cena throws it into the ocean.
Because I remember this shit. There's
What if they're just like keeping it like this because they eventually want to split them back up? That'd be terrible.
I really hope they don't do that.
I really hope they do.
Or you know what? Maybe this is like a really stupid decision if this is what they end up doing, but maybe the reason that they're doing that is because they are going to use that WWE Network logo for everything, and they can't use the one that's on the belt right now, and they've just made up a WWE Network one that they're going to debut at WrestleMania.
I tell you why that would make
That
perfect
logo's
sense.
fucking ugly.
It would make perfect sense because they want to get away from that scratch logo because that's the one that their lawsuit with the WWF Panda people had a problem with. So that's why that logo has caused them a lot of problems. For them to create a completely new entity with a logo would be very smart of them.
But didn't they already work out a deal with the World Wildlife Fund that they could use the old scratch logo again, or at least they don't have to cover it up in archive footage?
Yeah, that's true.
That's been fishy because I did see for a period where they weren't, but I think that ended up falling out because all the newer stuff I'm seeing now, it is blurred out again.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's so annoying. I was actually getting used to it. Like, I think did they mention WWF at one point, or are they still not allowed to mention the
They're
initials
still not
verbally?
allowed to say the initials. They could say World Wrestling Federation, but they can't say WWF out loud.
Because I'm sorry, seeing that old archive footage that they have for their newer DVDs, just all those little blur blobs on there, it really takes me out of the matches.
Well,
Yeah,
at least
ruins
like
it
the
for me. I have to buy the original for me to enjoy it, and maybe that's silly, but it really does put me off.
Well, at least the technology has gotten to the point where they can just really pinpoint wherever the logo is, like in the turnbuckles, and just cover that up. Because I remember when they first started doing that in the early 2000s, it was terrible. Like half the screen would just have a huge blur over it. It would go over people's faces, and it would completely ruin it.
They would just have a big vertical blur over all parts of the turnbuckles. It would just be like these big sticks in the middle of nowhere that were blurred out.
Or God forbid they ever show the old Raw Titantron where they had the big WWF logos on both sides. So you'd have just a big, just vertical stripe on both ends.
But I still think you get rid of both the titles, you just have one fucking championship. And they better do it either at Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania. At this point, probably WrestleMania, but fuck. I'm so sick of it.
I kind of agree with them. I wouldn't be with the other guys. I wouldn't be surprised if by WrestleMania they have a new belt and it does have that new WWE logo. And you know what? I'm okay with them dropping the old logo. I think it's been around long enough. It's been over a decade at this point. You know how the old block letters had their time. The scratch had its time. The new scratch had its time. And yeah, I'm okay with this new WWE logo. If they want to put it on the new belt, more power to them.
Yeah, but do you guys actually like the logo?
I think
I'm
it's
okay.
fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm okay with it.
I can't. I don't like it.
You just don't like change.
Yeah, I know. I'm stuck in the past.
I think it's very modern, and I think it looks like they're finally jumping into the 21st century.
Yeah.
21st century. It's all weird and smells funny.
Could you spare us change, sir?
All right, we're gonna move on to the
What?
very last part here. 'Cause I think that is our
Christ,
sign that we
Drew.
need to get out of there. We're gonna do our last part of the Royal Rumble review and talk about the Royal Rumble match itself, and then we're gonna finish off this episode with some fantasy league talk.